I'm going to show you guys how to beat the shareholder meetings in the business management minigame in Yakuza Like a Dragon. So these things are actually really complicated. The first thing, before you get into one, you want to go to your boardroom and get set up. So first off, on the left is how well your business is doing. That determines how much support you start off with, or how much approval rating you start off with at the beginning of the minigame. So it gives you more leeway if you mess up. It's really not to worry. The managing employees, you can just you give your employees bonuses to get them up to that best one on the left, the green one where they're super motivated. You can do that last second. You can do that the week that the shareholder meeting is happening, and it's totally fine. Like, you go in here and it's minus 10%. Go to your employees, give them all bonuses, get them all up to green, and now go in here, it's plus 10%. You can do it the same day. So that's the only one to really worry about. Just take care of that. The other things, they shouldn't be relevant to beating the game. You're beating the game, doing what you got to do. Don't worry about those things. Just worry about managed employees. Then on the right, obviously you can see who you're going to go up against in the next shareholder meeting. But the more important thing is your team. I mentioned this in the business management guide a little bit. I'll go over it again. Main thing here is there are 3 different types: green, red, and blue. You see Granny at the top left of her card is a green icon with a stack of cash. Well, that is her type. Chicken is blue with a calculator, or maybe it's a building. I always thought it was a calculator, but now that I look at it a third time, I think it's a building. Well, anyway, that is a type. And then red with a little person on it, that is a type. Red is good against green, green is good against blue, and blue is good against red. Every person, like you'll see here, the people I'm going to go up against, we got 2 reds, 1 blue, or no, 2 blues, and 1 green. So that's what they are weak against. So if the guys on the left, I'm going to want to attack them with the chicken. The 2 blues, I'm going to want to attack them with Granny or the director guy with the yellow background. The green guy, I'm going to want to attack him with the guy on the right because he's red. Yeah, so that's the main thing with that. But so here's another trick. Really important tip. You got 4 slots here. You only need 1 of each type. After that, the final slot, doesn't matter what type it is, just pick your guy who has the most charisma, regardless of command cost. I'll explain in a second. So command cost being low is super good. Granny and Chicken are 2 of the best units in the entire game or employees in the game for the shareholder meeting, because they have decent charisma, but their command cost is super low. This guy's not very good, but his command cost is low, and that's the main reason I picked him. He's actually pretty bad, but he's so cheap to use. And the reason that's important is every time you need to counter an argument, every time someone's bar fills up, you have to break their argument at the beginning. And if you have 1 of each type that uses no command cost, you can sit there in a stalemate forever then. Just once a person pops their argument up, whether you accept it or not, break their argument with what it's weak against. And if you're using their weakness, it'll break the argument in 1 attack. So red guy pops up a green argument. Okay, well, I attack the green argument with my guy on the right. Even though he has no charisma, it breaks his argument instantly, and now I don't have to worry about taking damage, don't have to worry about losing approval rating. I can just keep up with that real easy. And then if I have extra points to attack, then I attack with their weakness or whatever. The other thing that's important is this guy. So you might have times where, say, this guy, a good example is this guy. He is good against green, but he's not very strong. He's just there to break their guard. So what I'll use him for afterwards, if there's a really tanky green guy, is I'll use this guy to build up my attack multiplier. Every time you're attacking, there's an attack multiplier. It starts off at 1. You attack the guy once his guard is down, and it'll then increase the multiplier to 1.25, then to 1.5, then 1.75, then 2. So I'll attack with this guy until I get that multiplier up to 2 to save me my command points, I guess they're called. And then once the multiplier is already built up, then I'll attack with this guy because he has insane charisma, even though he costs more. And that saves you command points in order to get while getting maximum damage in. It's like the best way to min-max your damage in that kind of situation. Chicken and Granny both do so much damage by themselves for their command cost. I normally don't have to attack with them first and then swap to this guy. It's just not a thing. It's mainly just for this guy who's so weak. But you have a 4th slot, you might as well just put your heaviest hitter in there. It really can come in handy. And you might end up seeing it depending on how it goes when I show you the minigame in just a second. So yeah, that is the main things that you need to know. Tenacity is another stat I should mention. It's not important if you play the game right. Tenacity just determines how much HP your employees have. If you fail to break your target's argument, then when its gauge fills, basically, he will attack one of your employees, and then how much HP they lose is based on their tenacity, or how much if they survive the attack is based on their tenacity. That's like their HP. It should not be relevant. If you're playing this right, you will never get attacked. And you might worry if you've played it before, but maybe you're not. You feel like, well, maybe I'm not fast enough to react and attack the argument with the right color. Well, it's a cheat for that. Okay, massive cheat for that, and I'll get to that in just a second. Also, one last tip here: if you want to get their charisma tenacity to be higher, you can always promote them and train them. It increases not just their management stats, but their shareholder meeting stats too. So I could get this guy to have even more charisma. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. Let's give that guy more charisma real fast. Employees. Where is that guy? There he is. All right, let's promote him. Okay, even though it's going to cost me so much down the road. Let's just see. This is going to be 39, 26 more. All right, let's just do it. Let's get him max level. Okay, max level. All right, so he's got 750, now. Yeah, so if you feel like you want to ever increase their stats, that's how you do it. But that is pretty much everything to do with getting prepared. Now we get into the actual shareholder meeting. So, in the actual shareholder meeting, really not much else for me to say other than to get in it. And once I get in it, then I can explain more. So, the big trick, the big cheat for this minigame that makes this minigame go from really kind of difficult to not so bad is, first you set up the units, like I said, really cheap ones so you can break their arguments, but then the biggest part of the cheat is you can pause at any time, and pausing does not block the whole screen. And I'll show you why that's important. So, what happens is, if you think you need time to think about any decision, just hit pause, options, whatever, depending on what controller you're using, or what system you're using, or if you're on PC, whatever it is to pause, okay? Open up this menu. So what happens is, in this mini game, there's all your opponents, and they have this bar that fills. So right now, they have, if I got this, you see those bars filling? Okay. Well, when that bar goes to full, they'll ask a question whether you like it or not. So it's best for you to keep control of that. Now, for tips here, at the very start of the minigame, you immediately just want to pick someone, because right now your command points are full and you're not gaining any. So you need to use yours up as fast as possible. So that way when time is passing, you'll be getting command points. You're basically wasting if you don't attack immediately. But who should you attack first is a big question here. And when you first come in and you have full command points and the game just started, go for the person who has the lowest health or is the least tanky, or both. So far from my experience, if the guy's big and fat, that means that he has a ton of HP. If they're skinny, it means they have less HP. And sometimes they won't have, especially early on, you'll see it. And right here we see it, just one. On the very right, you see that woman in the white. Her bar is not full. She doesn't even have full, max HP like the other high-level people do. So in this situation, I would go for her first, because she's an easy knockout. And that's just one person to just get out of the way, so there's less people building up their bars and me having to deal with it, okay? That's the first target that you want to go for. If there are no other good targets based on that, the other thing is, if someone has their bar filling really fast, go for the guy who fills his bar the fastest, so you just don't have to deal with him arguing constantly. But let's take out the girl on the right. So you move left and right to select players, and then hit whatever the button is on the bottom to confirm. I don't know what it'd be on PC. So I'm going to unpause. I'm going to go left to get across, and then pick her. So she popped up a green argument. Green is weak against red. And like I said, if you feel like this part right here, when they pop up an argument, if that feels like it's too fast for you, just like this, pause right when it pops up. Now you have time to think. Okay, it's a green argument. Look down at the bottom left. What's good against green? Red is good against green. Okay, who, now you see here, who is red? Okay, my guy on the right. So I need to move over to my guy on the right and hit X. Okay, let's do that. Move over. This guy. He's red against green. Breaks the argument instantly. Okay, so that's taken care of. Now we can't take damage. At this point, we're safe. Now, if we want to, if we have command points, we want to attack her and take her out. Well, right up there by where it says view controls, you can see through the fuzz that she's blue. I'll even pause right there. You see right there is blue at the top right. So what is blue weak against? Well, if you look at the bottom left, green is good against blue. So I can either use Granny or I can use the executive looking guy. In my case, I'm going to use Granny because she has the lowest command cost out of the two. So let's move over to Granny and have her attack. So before she attacks, I want to point out on the left, you'll see a thing that says 1.00. And after she attacks, it's going to change to 1.25. And right above that is going to be a little timer. And when that timer runs out, you can't attack anymore. So you want to, if you're going to, you want to take advantage of your multiplier before the timer runs out. And attacking stalls the timer, so you've all the time in the world. If you attack repetitively, then it won't go down. But the main thing is the multiplier. We're gonna, like, every attack builds the multiplier. I just want you to see that on the left. Be aware of that multiplier on the left. It's gonna be just to the left of this controller icon, and then you'll see it go up as I attack her. I'm gonna attack her all the way through here, and then we'll see. You can watch that, and you can also see her health at the top right or whatever. So, Granny attacked. Now 1.25 multiplier. Attack again. That was all it took for her. She was pretty weak. Okay. Now, what we do here is, now that we are missing command points, now, no matter what's going on, we do not call on someone until they are almost to the point of standing up anyway. Or you just let them stand up anyway. It doesn't really matter too much, honestly. But you'll see their bars, all four of these people, that little icon. A bar will start to fill around the outside of that icon. Once whoever gets there first, right before they get there, then select them. The reason we do this is every time that you deal with someone's argument, everyone else's bars get set back like a fourth or half or something like that. So by wasting this time like this, it gives you the max amount of time to get your command points back. And if you do that every single cycle, you wait till they're full, then you get the max amount of command points between arguments, allowing you to knock out as many people as possible before running out of command points. And then if you stall it out like that, then hopefully by the time that you're out of command points, if there are still opponents, at the bottom right, Ichiban will have his special move ready, which will allow you to stop their timers and give you command points. So I should mention now, at the bottom right, you see Ichiban, and there's some thing down there, okay? Well, that thing's a bar that fills around the outside, just like these guys up in front of us. It goes around once, and then it's ready for a level 1 attack. If it goes around a second time, you can do a level 2 attack. If it goes around a third time, then you can do a level 3 attack, and that's maxed out. Generally, you'll only need level 2 if you play this game right. If you shouldn't even get to level 3. I don't think there's enough time to get to level 3 if you're attacking correctly with the correct cycles. But level 2 is useful sometimes. You'll see level 2 by the end of this probably. Other times I might not use level 2 because I might run out of command points and just have to defend myself or something until it gets to level 2. But okay, so we're going to unpause this, and whoever gets their bar filled first is the person we're going to select. So let's see. Who's going to get filled first? It looks like it's going to be a tie between these three. Or actually, it's going to be these two guys, but they're all getting up there. I'm going to pick the green guy. All right. So, green is weak against red. So we'll go attack him with red when it gets to that. But his argument is red. So we need to attack his argument with the chicken, because the chicken is blue. So chicken, break his argument. Okay, now we can attack. Now here's where things get weird, because my red guy, who's good against this guy, my red guy is not very strong. He just doesn't use a lot of command points, but he's not very strong. So we're going to attack with him until we get our multiplier up to 2. If you remember where I showed you about the multiplier on the left, you'll see it here. We're going to attack with this guy to build that multiplier on the left. You see it going up, 1.5, 1.75, and now 2. Now the multiplier's at 2, and this guy still has a ton of health left. But the multiplier is so high that I can now attack with the second guy no problem, and it should do good. If that second guy was blue instead of green, it'd be kind of rough because he'd be weak against it, but it's still probably better than my guy on the right, just because my guy on the right has such low charisma. So now we attack with this guy, even though it's not super effective. You see it did an insane amount of damage. We'll attack again, finish him off. That used a lot of command points, but you basically have to do it because he was gonna, you know, I don't know, you just want, if you can, you want to take out your opponent while you're at it in one go. And the reason for that is the way the multiplier works. It saves you command points if you can just take them out all at once. If you fail to take them out all at once, then you just wasted command points because you lost your multiplier. So you really want to capitalize on that multiplier. So now this guy is going to be the next one. I'm going to go ahead and select him. His argument is green, which is weak against red. He's red, which is weak against blue. And this is where Chicken comes in handy. Chicken, in my opinion, is the best blue unit in the entire game. He's just super strong, uses no command points. Super, just amazing. All right, so now we wait to build command points. This guy's next. All right, red, but his argument is blue. So blue is weak against green. We'll attack with Granny, who uses the least command points. Now he's open for attack. So he is red, and red is weak against blue. So we're going to beat him up with the chicken. Chicken should beat him up really easy. Chicken's one of the best units in the game. Employees. All right. Now, I actually could finish this without using Ichiban if I played this right. But I'm going to show you how it works. At the bottom right now, you can see there's a triangle icon because I'm on PS4. It'll be different if you're on a different system. Over there by Ichiban. He's ready to attack. Well, down below him, you can kind of see through this fadedness, 2 of those icons are lit up. That means level 2 of his attack is ready. I'm going to use level 2 of his attack now to show you what it does. You hit triangle, it pauses the game, okay? Once you get to this. And you get to pick what it does. Level 1 just does damage. It's pretty much useless. You don't need damage. It's really not going to help. You always want to wait till at least level 2. Level 3 is just a better level 2. Level 2 does damage, but the main thing is it prevents their bars from charging for, I don't know, like 5 or 10 seconds. And it gives you some command points back. So we're going to use it. And now you'll see that guy has chains over his icon, and we got a bunch of command points. So now we wait, and then once it's over, okay, now we keep waiting, and now we select him. Now we've got 62 command points, and we are good to go, basically, at this point to finish off this game. So his argument is green, so we're going to attack with red. All right, his guard is down, so he's blue. He's weak against green. We will attack with Granny. And Granny should be able to handle it, no problem. One last thing you see at the top right is time. You only have a limited amount of time until this minigame is over. You shouldn't even worry about time. Most of the time, you could even run out of time and still get approval rating if you can just knock out 2 people and then just hold your own. Those arguments that pop up, you at least got to knock out the argument every time. You can easily just stall and just not even fight people and just knock out the argument and then just sit there and then knock out an argument and sit there, and you'd be totally okay too. So if you ever run behind on command points, that's always an option too. And then at the bottom left, you can see it says 100% down there through the blurriness. That is your approval rating. That is so everything above 50 is good. Once you're at 100, that's the max number of, that's like the maximum you can do. At that point, knocking out other people is just for the sake of doing it. You could honestly just stall once it's at 100, and you'd still get the same as if you had knocked everybody out. You don't have to knock everybody out to get the max reward. You just got to get that to 100% and then not, you know, get beat up basically. That, I think, is everything. That is the end of the questions. And if you did it right, then it shouldn't be hard. And if you know to pause, if you know like that trick, that cheat, that you can just pause and take your time to make decisions, it's easy. So all the employees who participated get experience. In my case, it doesn't matter because they're all max level for their employee ranking. I'm already at max whatever, but winning gives you a big boost to your share price, which helps you to progress through the game. You literally cannot beat this business management minigame without being able to beat the shareholder meetings. No matter how good your business is, you won't meet up to Nick's goals without beating the shareholder meetings. I don't know what happens if you fail his goals, though. I've never actually had that happen. I actually have no idea. It might be totally fine. I don't know how they made that work. Okay. So. That might be what the loan shark's about, actually. I wonder. Because it might be that if you fail on Nick's, he takes his money back and then you're in debt. That might be what happens. That might be why they're the loan shark option. Anyway, and then every time that you beat a shareholder meeting, you get a executive reward. And at max rank 1, that reward is 3 million yen every single time that you go through a business cycle and do the shareholder meeting. Earlier on, it's not as much, but by the time you beat the game, you'll easily have made like 20 million yen. So it's, if your goal is to get yen, then go beat the business management minigame, beat the shareholder meetings, get through it. It takes like 4 to 6 hours. I thought it was fun personally, but if you just want to get money and have money for the rest of the game, you do it early, and then you just have money in the game super easy. You can just spam infinite items and everything super easy. I just went around all the stores buying everything, and who cares because you have so much money. And if you want to know more about the actual minigame mechanics, like the properties, upgrading, assigning employees, training, bonuses, blah, 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 all that stuff, check the description below. I should have another video on that, and I will put that as the top thing in the description so that you can go look at that if you want to see that too. So I know some of you just wanted to see the shareholder minigame probably and see how to beat that, but there are probably some of you out there who also want to know how to manage the properties and do all that stuff too. So if that's something that interests you, check out that. But that's pretty much everything. That is everything that you are going to need to know for how to beat the shareholder minigame in Yakuza Like a Dragon.